Hi everyone, welcome to First Christian Church Disciples of Christ in Grand Island, Nebraska, where we are an all-inclusive progressive Christian church where we teach God's love for everyone. So if you like us, come and view. We have many more videos on file and we hope to see you soon. Hello, our scripture reading today comes from the book of Exodus 33, verses 12 through 23. Moses said to the Lord, "See, you have said to me, bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now, if I have found favor in your sight, show me your way so that I may know you and find favor in your sight. Consider, too, that this nation is your people." He said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And he said to them, "If your presence will not go, do not carry us up from here. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight and your people, unless you go with us? In this way we shall be distinct, and I, your people, from every people on the face of the earth." The Lord said to Moses, "I will do the very thing that you have asked, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." Moses said, "Show me your glory, I pray." And he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and will proclaim before you the name of the Lord, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I show mercy. But," he said, "you cannot see my face, for no one shall see me and live." And the Lord continued, "See, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock. And while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." I can remember living in Kalamazoo, Michigan at age 4. And I remember this distinct conversation that we had. My parents were discussing what they were going to name the baby that was coming via my mom with us shortly. Now, I remember the conversation my parents were having in front of me, and I remember telling them I wanted, if it's a boy, the baby to be named Mark. I remember that my mother didn't agree. She wanted the boy's name to be Todd. Now, I didn't like the name Todd, so I didn't want that to be its name, but that didn't matter. When my baby brother was born, my mom brought him home from the hospital, and his name was Todd, and she didn't even give him the middle name of Mark that I wanted. I can also remember every time we have gotten a family pet growing up, my mom usually got the honors of naming the dog. I can remember, and it was always a dog too, because my dad didn't like cats. I can always remember that I too would be the one who would come up with pet's name within my household for my children whenever we would acquire a new puppy. The naming process, while fun and exciting, can be laced with anxiety over the wants for a name that would fit the one to be named, and also a name everyone could come to accept for years to come. And who knows how that puppy's going to grow into their name, right? It seems we all had a different taste in names, and in my household, everybody had different meanings for the proper representation of what we thought the newest member of our family was going to mean to us and how that puppy was going to grow. I also can remember the act of naming each of my children. Looking up names in a baby book since, well, we didn't have Google back then, and finding their meanings and seeing what it is we thought we wanted our little bundle of joy to be named. We didn't have the luxury to pull the rankings of popularities of baby names at the touch of a fingertip the way we do today. And I would see how well the new prospective name for the baby that we might have picked out would fit with our last name. And then I would compare that new name to their siblings' names and see if it went with theirs as well. And then after all of that comparing, I would come to a place where my spouse and I would actually agree on the prospective name for this new life that we've created together and that we were bringing into the world. The expression of love through the art of compromise and commitment for loving our creation into a new life is awesome, and it's life-changing. Everyone likes to name things, people, places. We like to associate life and purpose with meaning, so we give names to these experiences we have. Some of the names are public and some maybe they're more private. But nonetheless, naming is something we do and live, and life without naming is meaningless and less structurally defined. Impersonable, unconnected. We put a flag on a stake and we place it into the moon to show that we have accomplishment. We fight wars over places that we choose to dominate. We've been known a time or two to give nicknames to those who come to us from another tribe as a way to offer a new beginning for them and a permanent placement of sense within the belonging of our space to our people. Like the old-time romper room TV show, we too want to hear our name called. The acknowledgement of being personally affirmed resides within all of us. It is here where we meet our text today. Reminded as a human and limited as we are, God is here for us, with us, for the permanent long haul. In God's realm, we belong. We have worth and we are loved. We have importance. We are named. It is then that we choose to see how we follow, by what path we take, and how we choose to travel our destination that determines our walk with life in God, our Creator, our eternal parent. So as you might know, just because we have a child, this does not mean that child will follow the plan the parents have for them, or even their namesake. Just because parents provide for their child and love them, the child may choose to negate all of their home teachings, strike out on their own. The child may want to live differently, proclaim their own self-worth than the way they were brought up, for personal taste reasons, for ethical reasons, for logistic reasons, or any other reason that they may give you that has somehow influenced them at that time. The reason for the changes most likely come with the reality of life changing with time, place, space, and people who influence the child in some way of exploration, in their exploration to become their own. The reality is nothing living and growing ever escapes the need for change and growth, no matter how small or how large the change comes to be. This theme of changing needs is the primary influencer then for Moses as a leader of God's people. The wilderness was a huge changing scene, much like the pandemic today, but more so. In Moses' day, the people did not get to continue living in their own homes. They did not have a social media to pull the world. They did not get to eat the same foods even that they were accustomed to. The sights and smells and the new people that they came across were different than anyone would ever be comfortable facing in one lifetime. But the promise to be freed from the world of slavery was the promise that they wanted to see materialize for their people. The problem in our story is that no one cognitively understood how long it and what it would extent of sacrifice it was going to take for an endurance test upon them for the change to take place, take root, and grow within them for a new future. What started out as a promise and a hope was waning thin in the long duration of testing over the molding process of changing one's life from a slave into a free person. The 40 years in the wilderness was a lifetime. The thinking had to be remolded. It takes time. God was in the process of helping God's people live in the freedom of their names. So a few deaths happened alongside.